How's it going, people? How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Tuesday.
How we doing today? I hope we had a nice Monday.
The first thing I want to start off, obviously, say hi to you guys, okay? And thank you for checking us out. We really
thank you for
appreciate
your
that.
views, comments. We received some nice comments. Thank you.
The second thing I'd like to do is I'd like to say congratulations to the world's newest billionaire, which is going to be that nurse that they claimed tried to steal the bike from 5 black guys. She's going to be a billionaire. Oh my gosh. Nick Sandman is going to be like her neighbor. That's where that's going to get to.
Yes, that's true.
Anyway.
That's true.
Okay.
Because now everybody's after.
Oh my God.
Even where she lives, she's going to get it. It's insane.
Well, there's a reporter named Stephen Williams and Ben Crump. And we were talking about that, Ben Crump. I don't know if you guys remember in the last episode. I was talking about the guy who, he turns around and he said she's using her white crocodile tears. And this is something that's been done to black men since the dawning of time. Anyway, so that's been deleted, by the way. Him and this guy, Stephen Williams, who also did very much the same thing, just deleted their account, their whatever it was, their posts on this particular subject. And then Stephen came back and tried to double down, but doing it in a passive-aggressive way. Like, first thing he tried to do was negate the fact that there were 5 guys and only claimed it was 1. This, in his words, the nurse came up to this one black man who was on a bike, leaving out that there were 4 others surrounding her, touching her, yelling at her, videotaping her, etc. Basically abusing her.
Yeah, degrading.
And then he turned around and he said, it's possible that this one black man misunderstood or misinterpreted
what she said.
The numbers on the bike, and so he thought that was his bike. But the problem with that is he doesn't have any receipt for any bike. Any bike. So, not
one bike in that area.
So what's the receipt numbers for him? 00000? I mean, come on, please. It's just absurd.
Meanwhile, she had the receipt.
Yeah, it's just...
It's on your phone, whether it's on paper, whatever you got a receipt.
And if you watch the video, this is what gets me about the whole thing, to be perfectly honest with you. If you watch the video, and I'm not even talking about the whole video, I'm just talking about the video, okay? Just the part that they're making it sound like. There's a gentleman in the background who says, listen, why don't we just put the bike back in the in whatever the holster is, whatever it is.
You gotta listen to it,
and it'll reset, and then you retake it out if it's your bike. The nurse is very willing to go along with that. Now, if she was stealing the bike, she wouldn't go along with that.
Right.
You know who wasn't willing to go along with it?
The 4 guys.
The 5. The 5 black guys.
The 5 young
The 4 surrounding her and the 1 on the bike. And they were adamant about not doing it. First, the guy on the bike says, I'm not resetting it. Then his friends around him go, yo, that's his bike. Yo, that's his bike. Yo, God, reset it. Yo.
Show proof.
Listen. If you're that stupid that you can't read a person, I mean, this person literally was written not just in print, but in Braille. It was so easy to pick that this guy was trying to rob the lady. And yet you still think that the appropriate thing is for you to mishmash this whole subject and create strife between two sets of people. What's wrong with you?
That's why we call this no common sense.
It's unbelievable.
That's why you have common sense. Come on.
These are people who supposedly went to school, who supposedly have some semblance of intelligence.
Now, we talked about this.
I just want to say one quick thing.
Intelligence.
And the whole reason they're doing this is over one thing: donations. They're trying to get donations to their different organizations or ratings. In Stephen Williams' case,
right?
He's just trying to listen. Yes. The more you explode something or turn it hyperbolic, the more people will watch you, and that's his case. Crumb's case is that he's a lawyer who's always looking for more money and more clients, and that's all he's looking for in this case. Also,
he plays the race.
He's total race card, but that's another thing to talk about.
The nurse is being ridiculed by the media too. That's the sad part.
Yep.
And like the papers, the media. I mean, come on.
How
delusional are they? You got to see this.
Well, how do you take? Let's take a single news outlet. Like, let's take the Post, for example. Okay, so let's say you're the Post. I'm talking about the whole company, the Post, the New York City Post. Okay, so I'm going to estimate, and I could be wrong, and I don't really care if I'm wrong or not, to be honest with you, because it's just kind of a point I'm trying to make. let's say there's 40 people that work in this building, which we know there's probably a heck of a lot more than that, right? But let's say there's 40 people. And out of that 40 people, three are reporters. Now, we know that this guy, I'm sorry about that. That's my dog. My dog is really cute, so I don't want to yell at her for doing that. Anyway, so let's say there's three there. There's three reporters, which we know there's a hell of a lot more than that, right? Because you got photographers, you got the whole thing.
The writers, everything.
So you're telling me that three people aren't smart enough to turn around to whoever's had this as a story
and see this
and say, listen, are you nuts? Look at it. Look at it. Just take a look. Step back and look at it objectively.
Take a breather.
I mean, you're a freaking newspaper.
You're a news reporter.
I mean, please.
Journalism. You're a journalist.
I mean, we're not even at a point of Hunts Brinkley anymore. These people, these are not journalists anymore.
No.
These are simply people who and you know what I like? And the reason I think...
the good old days like the Newsies.
Well, yeah, you're right. The reason I think this happens, though, Kerry, I'll tell you honestly, is I think it happens because years ago, everybody woke up in the morning and the first thing they looked for was their newspaper.
Yeah.
Today, nobody does.
Right.
The newspaper's basically a dead business.
Oh, yeah.
And so in order for them to keep their jobs, they've got to sensationalize as much as possible.
No one needs the paper no more.
Right. It's just not, not a necessity
you read the news
anymore.
on your phone, your computer.
Exactly.
Everything.
It's just not a necessity anymore.
I'm sorry to say, it's like even with books, too. You ever see people, they have that, the Kindle?
Yeah, the Kindle, exactly.
I mean... You gotta go with the old.
But when you take that,
I go old fashioned way.
But when you take that type of necessity away, in other words, when you demote them to such a point where they're just like a passing view, then you also take away their integrity because they don't have to be as honest because they're never going to be called on it because so little people, read it. And the ones that do read it are basically have been reading it since they're a kid or whatever and are faithful to it, and they're never going to question anything that comes out of it. And in the end,
it's very sad our journalism today. They're not reporting the right thing. I mean, come on.
I don't really call it journalism at this point. I call it writing because they write like the way a person would write a book, and they just put their own opinion in there, their own conclusion, and they don't bother. The problem,
But you're right about that. Nobody buys the papers no more. Nobody reads the papers. No, you don't have to.
Well, it's just like the hypocrisy of the Dems saying they follow the science. Okay, they follow the science. Wait. How many times did you hear that? Follow the science.
Right.
Follow the science. Follow the science. Get your vaccine. Follow the science.
I'd rather follow the yellow brick road.
Science tells us there's only two genders, but they don't. Now we don't have to follow the science. Right. Now it's all up to what you decide. You decide there's more. Well, and it's funny because the last one I proved to you that there are three genders. But on genetic level, there's only two. You can make believe whatever you want. You can make believe that you're a woman and dress like that. And I'll call you a she. I don't even care.
Yeah, we went through this, yes.
Where we have a problem with it is when it comes down to somebody losing something, like a scholarship, like a cash prize.
For their scholarship.
A great example is the marathon runner. The female category was won by a male. And
dressed up as a woman.
Right. No, he wasn't even dressed. All he had on was a bikini. He was bald.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
He was bald, and he basically was a man in a bikini. He was a
man, he just put a bikini on.
And when he finished, he said, when he finished, the funniest part, the most ironic part of the whole thing was, he yells out, "Girl power, girl power!" You just took a prize away from a woman who's been training probably for
4 years, maybe years,
and you just made her a laughing stock for putting that much effort into it.
You're saying girl
when a man could come in and just win it without
And we've seen it happen now. We've seen it happen
plenty of times. But that's my point with the hypocrisy of the Democratic Democratic view.
How about that one in Hunter College, the professor?
Oh my gosh, that was sickening. That was actually sickening.
Peacefully protesting pro-life.
Well, last year I'm watching.
Anybody saw that?
I'm sorry, not last year. 2 years ago, I'm watching protests where the journalist is standing there with the mic and he's saying, "These protests are mostly peaceful," and I'm watching a city burn down behind him. Literally burned down. You can see the sweat beating down from the heat of the fire.
Shit.
And I mean, we're not talking about a little dumpster
fire.
No. We're talking about buildings.
Fire.
Buildings on fire.
And he's look at it. Go back and look.
It's mostly a peaceful protest. And then the biggest idiot is that Chris Cuomo. He had the nerve to turn around and go, "Well, I don't understand where it says that protests have to be peaceful." Well, read the Constitution. That's exactly where it says peaceful protest.
I think it's the 9th Amendment.
It's 6, 9, whatever. It doesn't, it's not really. But I'm telling you, it does say that. Assembly and peaceful protest.
Peaceful assembly and peaceful protest. Remember that.
Anyway, so
there's no peaceful protest.
This lady, okay, go ahead, finish.
No, just saying, these kids didn't Hunter College though.
Yeah.
They just had a table set up with pamphlets talking about pro-life.
They had a couple of things. They had a couple of models, like of a fetus.
Right.
And some girl came up, grabbed the model of the fetus, and put it in her mouth and chewed it.
I saw that.
That was just disgusting.
Yeah.
But now, you know what that would tell me?
She spit something out on her hand.
Yeah, no, but that was it. She spit it out after she chewed it.
Right.
Now, if that was me, okay, and now she did that and I saw that, I would do this again, except next time I would fill it with habanero peppers. And I would let her do it and then see what her reaction was.
There you go. Just to watch.
Yeah.
She ain't leaving that place.
I'm sorry. I just drank some soda. I got to burp.
Can you imagine now? We put some peppers in there. Yeah, okay.
Some Louisiana hot sauce, baby.
But the sad part is there was a professor. Now, if you look at this professor, she don't look like a professor.
No.
I mean, growing up...
If she was a little taller, she could be Brittany Griner.
There you go. And she's, I believe, transgender. Or she's for it.
She's not. I don't think she is. I think she's for it. I don't think she actually is.
Okay. And she went up to the table and started degrading him. And she started pushing stuff off the table.
Yeah.
Now these people have a right to protest. And they're doing it peacefully.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
And they're doing it peacefully. So, hypocrisy there. Okay? They're all hypocrites. All right? Because they're saying that's peaceful.
I'm sorry about that.
The buildings are burning.
Hang on, let me just explain what happened. So my cat was outside, and my son was out there with the other cat. And sometimes the two cats think that it's like a wrestling match, and they start really. And if you've ever seen two cats go at it, it can get pretty dangerous. So he just had to bring the cat in. That's what that interruption was. All right. Anyway, get back to what you were saying. I'm sorry, Kerry. Go ahead.
No, that was it. That was the Hunter College one, and she was for transgender. She's not. Right. But then she got mad at them.
But now, see, they're okay.
Peacefully, right? They're peacefully protesting.
But here's the ironic part about it: what they were actually saying had nothing to do with trans.
No,
they were right for life. They had nothing to do with trans.
Pro-life.
And somehow she twisted this around into them not accepting and being transphobic.
Right.
Now that just, to me, that's just irrational. It's irrational. First off, everybody has a right to be against something. I'll even go you one better. I'm going to make this interesting, and you're gonna hate this.
Right.
I say you have a right to be racist. You don't have a right to act on it, but you have a right to be it. You can hate anyone you want for any reason you want. There's nothing illegal about that. Now, I'm going to straighten this out right now. I hate nobody. The only way I hate you, and the truth is, I really don't hate anybody.
Yeah, we don't like.
The only way I would hate you is if you do something to me or someone I love. That's it. But I'm telling you that you have the absolute right to hate anyone for any reason whatsoever.
Right.
You can't act upon it. You can't treat them different because you hate them. So, I'm
yourself.
Right. I'm just going to put it out there like this. Let's say I'm going to really be ridiculous here, and please understand that I'm being ridiculous. But let's say you don't like one-armed people. You're allowed not to like one-armed people. Now, you work with a one-armed people, and you happen to be their boss. You don't have the right to apply the way you feel to that workplace. But you do have a right to feel it. Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yourself.
Okay? And that's something you'll have to address on your own time.
Right.
But I'm telling you that you have the absolute right to dislike anything you want.
Do anything you like.
Okay? That's exactly. Who's to, and in reality, who's to say, who's to say what
you like?
Yeah, what you should like and what you shouldn't.
Right. They tell us that we have to accept them. No, you don't have to. I don't have to accept nothing.
Look at it from a dating perspective. People have different types.
Right.
Okay, that don't, and they don't like other types. I mean, they just don't. If you turn around to somebody, to a woman who likes guys who keep themselves clean shaven, etc., and you tell them, you got to date someone with a beard. She doesn't like that. She hates it.
Right.
She's allowed.
They like skinny guys. Like
she doesn't
guys,
have. Just because someone decides to wear a beard doesn't mean she has to like him.
Right.
And that's the way life works. Yep. The difference is you do have to treat people with a modicum of respect, and a modicum of, I don't even want to use the term kindness, but consideration.
Consideration. I was about to say consideration.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, at this point, I'd like to talk to you about something else. This is something.
Just remember that now.
This is something I just want to run through really quick, and I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. And I assume you guys watch some TV, and you've seen these St. Jude commercials with Alex and all of these little.
Yeah,
I mean, they're the most courageous kids I've ever seen in my life. Let's put it that way. Okay, they're dancing. They've got all of these issues, and they're as happy as can be. What I'm going to ask you. Well, even I don't care which one they do.
Right.
You could do Shriners. You could do St. Jude's. You do any of them. I don't really care. Just something with kids. That's
the kids.
Keep it with the kids. That's all I'm asking.
Do anything, right?
And maybe not so much Ronald McDonald. Go with Ronald McDonald too. Right. But what I'm going to ask you to do is we really do put some effort into this in terms of getting together, figuring out what type of topics we might go into and stuff. It's minimal. I'm not going to bullshit you, okay?
Right,
it's minimal. But if you like our show somewhat, if you just like it a little bit and you watch it once in a while, if you have
us.
Yeah, if you figure out at the end of the month you have $2, you have $2 left over, send it to even if you want to divide it in $1 a piece. I know it doesn't sound like a lot to you. I get that you're like, oh, it's $2. What is he, a moron?
Everybody did it.
But yeah, exactly. We have I think 380 views or something total.
I'll tell you that right now. I do.
Yeah,
I send the same.
But I'm not telling you. Listen, I'm not trying to guilt you into it or anything like that. No. I'm just telling you that if you like it and you want to say thank you to us, this is the way to do it.
This is the way to do it.
Okay, just send $1. Right. Send if you can do $1 every month. I know it sounds ridiculous.
It's going to a good cause.
It really just send it to them. You know what I mean? If you can't, I understand that too. Just then you know what you do when you say a prayer that they get some money. That's all. I appreciate that too. But we would really appreciate if
you ever watch these commercials, every little bit helps them, and they're doing well.
And to be that courageous and that strong, man, they deserve every shot they can get.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so back to what we were saying. So what's the next one? What's the next?
Well, one, they're all going delusional. We all know that. Okay. There was a governor in North Carolina. I just can't believe it. They're all going delusional. North Carolina, a governor is calling a state of emergency.
Yeah.
A state of emergency because of a school choice for parents.
Because the parents want to be able to send their kids to whatever school they want.
They want a school choice.
The problem is that the school has such low ratings. In other words,
with math,
reading, there's
you name it,
5% or something like that can read at grade level. And there's less than that can add or subtract at grade level.
Right.
And
the governor, I'm telling you, they're delusional.
Well, you know what makes it really delusional is on top of that, they're talking about reducing the amount of days with that kids are going to go to school. They want to make it a 4-day week.
Oh, meanwhile, they're struggling in 5 days.
It's but even when they had
holy crap,
go pre-pandemic. Okay, let's go pre-pandemic with this. They couldn't sign their name. They don't know cursive.
They can't write.
They can't read a clock, an analog clock.
A regular clock. Yeah.
You remember when you were in school and you got those little pictures?
Yep.
It had the circle and it was like, what time is it now? It was like 3 o'clock.
You got to answer.
3:30. The hand was on a 6. This one's on a 3. They can't figure that shit out. They don't know.
Help.
We could literally throw down a whole. What's that called? That system, Archimedes or something like that system. No, it's the one where your rhythm, that tells you it tells you whether your body's during night or day. We could throw their whole life out of whack just by changing back down to log clocks. Yeah. Okay, and we definitely could have a bunch of secrets from them by writing in cursive.
It's very sad because
it's really scary.
I mean, it's your child.
Well, no.
Don't you want your child to get a good education? So you want choice, and this man wants to call the state of emergency.
But cursive, Kerry, cursive. We're going back to we spoke about the rifleman, with Louis
McCain, baby.
And we spoke about that before.
Lucas boy.
Right, exactly. We spoke about that. We're actually going back to that, to where they're going to have to sign a contract with an X and an O.
But Mark, his son learned.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to think about it. When they turn around to them and say, write your signature. They don't have one. They can only write in print.
Yep.
They don't have a signature. They can never even so much as sign a contract.
And this is our generation to run the country.
And but that was pre-pandemic. That's not even after. That's not even after the Zoom, which made it worse. Mm-hmm. they're down about 75, 80% in terms of their education at this point. They're literally, I don't mean to say this and it's not their fault, but they're literally as dumb as rocks right now.
It's a shame.
We were outside right now and I was going to goof around. I was going to stop like a couple of kids and tell them, listen, let me ask you 3 questions. I'll give you $1 for each question you answered, whether you're right or wrong. And I
$100 down, how to roll.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, okay? I've done this before, okay? This was kind of a pad thing. And I always ask 3 questions, okay? 2 of them have the exact same answer. And it's easy. 2 of them I learned the answer to in 1st grade.
First grade. I learned it twice in first grade. I went back.
Okay, there you go. It took them.
It took me twice.
It took 2, really, in 1st grade I learned it. The first question was, who's the father of our country? They don't know it's George Washington. The second one was, who was the most famous traitor in history? Traitor, like someone who went against the government, which was Benedict Arnold, right? And who was the first president? Which is George Washington. Same question, same answer as the first question. And they literally cannot get one of them.
And this is important too. They don't know who sewed the flag.
Betsy Ross.
The flag of this country.
Well, I'll tell you something else. And this is something, I said this to him. I said, this is something you deal with every day. Whose face is on the dollar bill? They had no idea. No idea. I mean, that's how they're just.
That's how sad.
They just did a statistic study as to, and this is from everybody under the age of 17, from 17 to 10, and they asked them, would you rather give up your TikTok or your right to vote? And they said they'd rather give up their right to vote. That's the brilliance behind these kids. They'd rather sit there and watch a dog in a tutu dance than vote for their leaders.
Right, and learn your history.
Think about that.
Right, learn something. Like I said, education and intelligence are 2 different things.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, here's the best one. Remember that time we watched Sunday? Asked someone, what was the war of 1812?
Yeah. There's this guy on YouTube. Hard. I wish I knew his name because I'd love to send
and this is all true, people.
A shout out to him for you guys to watch him. There's a guy on YouTube who does this. He asks questions. And I swear to you, these are some of the questions. I'm not joking.
He's a college kid.
Yeah, and the guy who's doing it is a college kid. He's phenomenal, by the way. He does it really well. And what he does is, even when they're wrong, he goes, yeah, that's it. It's fantastically funny. Anyway, so he turns around to one of them and goes, what date does July 4th fall on? I'm not even kidding. I swear to you, that's the exact question, word for word.
Yep.
And they didn't know. So then he asked them, he said, what year was the War of 1812? They didn't know.
One guy said World War II.
Yeah, that's true. One guy said World War II. That's absolutely true.
He just gave you the answer. What was the War of 1812?
There's so many of these. Or like they asked him, how many nickels are in $1? Okay? And they'll guess 50 or 100 or 200 or it's just 50. Wait.
Right here in New York. They'll ask people who live in New York, what's the capital of New York? They have no idea.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. They're so stupid today. Listen, you could say you can blame it on teachers and stuff. It's not. They want to be stupid. What's his name? Who was it? Chris Rock. Chris Rock had the greatest joke going. And he used the N-word, and I'm not going to do that. I actually could, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so he had the greatest joke, and he would use the N-word. And I'm going to use people instead. And it was, people just love to not know. They just, I don't know about that. I don't know nothing about. People just love to be stupid. And they love to just not know. And it's true. It really is. Anyway, okay, so what's our next subject?
It's just very sane, okay?
What's our next
subject? If anybody out there has children, make a school choice for your children. Get them a good education in the future. Because these are the people we have.
Most important thing. Most important thing. Now, by education, hold on now. I don't necessarily mean college.
Right.
Okay? I mean a trade school. I mean college. I mean whatever they want to do.
Whatever they want to learn.
Just make sure that this is what they're looking to do, and
make sure they learn how to write. That's 1. Read. That's 2.
Survival skills.
Not for nothing. I'm 61. I worked with people for 23 years. And half of them cannot read.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but I've seen.
And if
people,
they can, they don't even if they
right. They don't understand,
what they're reading. Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah, that's a huge
reading.
problem.
Yeah. Well, that's just like I said. Now they have these Kindles. They got books. Go to the library. Go to a bookstore. Last night, like, look, I bought a good book last week because I've been off for a while, right? You know, I'm tired because I was up late last night. It's about glue. I couldn't put it down.
He was stuck on it.
Anyway. But anyway, people.
Anyway, we just went and had some Mr. Softy.
You gotta have a softie every summer.
Listen, nobody wants a softie unless you put a Mr. in front of it.
Mr. Softie, that's right. Sorry.
Nobody wants a softie. Not a man, not a woman.
Nope,
as a man, I can tell you, I don't want to have a softie.
Nope, no softie.
And I know women don't want me to have a softie. So, you know.
There you go.
Not that it would matter at this point in my life. Anyway,
we try to keep our jokes clean. I try not to say too many old jokes because when we do, they suck.
Yeah.
But anyway, people. But seriously,
what
just
else?
be careful
What else?
out
What
there.
else?
That's it. Just
give me another topic.
It's tough.
Got any more topics, or is that it?
That's all I can come up with right now. I mean, we're dealing with some delusional people. I mean, May Adams still wants to send these migrants up to upstate.
Yeah, and upstate is really pissed off about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw one guy in Liverpool, New York, put a restraining order because. Yeah. But see, what it is that May Adams is defying their, words that they're asking them nicely. No,
well, you know what it is.
He still wants to send them there.
Well, it's the difference. I don't believe we're what's that called?
Sanctuary state?
No, sanctuary. Right. I don't believe we're a sanctuary state. I think we're just a sanctuary city.
Right.
And what he's trying to do is he's trying to apply that philosophy
for the whole state.
For the whole state.
Right.
And you can't do that. That's every county has their own.
Right.
Has their own little setup,
and here
that's
in
the
New
way
York,
to do it.
from De Blasio, dumbass De Blasio, to dumbass Adams.
Oh, De Blasio, they're going after him now too.
They want to keep this a sanctuary city. You close it, so there you go. And now that's right. They're going after De Blasio and his wife.
That's important. I've been hoping.
So we were talking about that for the mental health, and they got 1.7 something billion.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Whatever happened to Pelosi? What happened to Paul Pelosi with the guy who went in with the hammer?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That just washed away. Yeah. We got theories about that one.
They're pretty simple. I think you know that they are
very
already.
Simple thing. If everybody remembers that, Paul.
But isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how you don't hear about that?
Speaker of the House's husband at the time. Wow, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, and then I assume.
I'm in on that one.
I assume everybody saw Biden almost fall on the stairs the other day.
Oh, at the G7.
At the G7.
Oh, now you see, he was going, before he got to the stairs, he was tumbling. Now,
good.
Stairs are taking our president.
Well, wait a minute now. Now, here, listen, I've heard a lot about his mental acuity and that sort of stuff. But twice he's made the same mistake, and it's a mistake that you generally wouldn't make when it pertains to your son who passed away. And his son actually passed away from cancer, from brain cancer. And sad. Believe me, I'm sorry about that. Nobody should have to lose their son or anything else.
No.
However,
parents, you don't want to bury your child.
This is the second time, I believe that it was either Afghanistan or Iran, he said, that his son perished in Afghanistan or Iran during one of the skirmishes we've had there. And Iraq. It's not once, it's twice. Maybe it was Iraq. Maybe that's
Iraq
it.
War. Right.
And you know what the problem with it is? He doesn't say it. He says it like he remembers it. And that's scary because it didn't happen. And he remembers it happening. And even Hillary, look at what Hillary said this week, that his age was in. I personally believe that she's looking to jump back in the race.
Oh, yeah, she definitely is.
I think she feels like...
Because they're all delusional. They think they did nothing wrong.
Well, she was supposed to be in there for Trump's term.
Right.
When Trump got elected. It was supposed to be her. That was all Russian... conflict.
Yes, by the way, that's all.
Yeah, that's
there,
all.
people.
And now it turns out that it was all bullshit. It should never even been done.
Right.
But during that time, it was supposed to be her. Then Biden was supposed to follow her. Biden would have ended up, being probably her VP or something
Vice President,
like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then he would have picked up when she left. It would have been this year.
Right.
But because of Trump threw a monkey wrench in there and screwed them over.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Almost like on the monsters when
now,
they put the monkey wrench in.
Right, exactly. So then, no more. No, anyway. So, he threw the monkey wrench in, and then they actually had to get even worse, and that was the last, with all the impeachments and that sort of stuff, in order to get him out there.
Oh, she's looking to get it. She just said he's old.
She feels like it's her turn. Right. That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
And meanwhile, it also turns out that the FBI squashed like 4 investigations on her and the Clinton Foundation, okay, for influence peddling.
Yes.
Somebody was trying to buy their influence, like two countries were trying to buy their influence.
Mm-hmm.
So now
money laundering, everything.
Yes, and now the CIA and FBI are looking into that.
But now, just remember now, the FBI going after parents who are worried about their kids' education.
Yeah.
So look out, people.
And they had to raid Mar-a-Lago because Trump had all of these boxes in a safe room.
A safe room. That's the key word.
That they asked him to put an extra padlock on, that he did, when there's Secret Service around that place all the time protecting an ex-president.
Yeah.
But Joe Biden with his Corvette and
as he was leaving his garage, you saw the boxes wide
1,800 boxes total.
Wide open.
90 of them located in Chinatown, and the rest located at Penn. Well, not even half of them Penn Biden and half right in another house.
Mind you, in Chinatown, they didn't speak English too well.
Well, I want to remind you of this. They go back to when he was senator. And as senator, he has no right to take them out of the skiff. Nope. A skiff is a private room that you go into. When you go in, you have to be patted down, and you sign a note saying that whatever you want, you're not taking anything out, you're not taking anything in, you won't take any photographs, anything like that. It's the ultimate privacy. If you ever watched Get Smart, it's the cone of silence. I beat you to it.
Right, so what you're pretty much saying is that anybody went in there and walked out with him
had to put it down your pants or something. There's no way.
Because you're not allowed.
Now, the other thing about it is he also has no right to declassify. So whatever he left with is still classified.
Not even as vice president.
That's treason. I don't care what anybody says. When you walk out of a skiff with classified stuff,
that's treason.
That's treason. All right. I'm sorry. It just is what it is.
Call it what it is. These people don't call it what it is.
And that also applies to him as vice president, because even as vice president,
you're not allowed to do
he still doesn't have the right to declassify, and he still doesn't have the right to take them.
Right.
It's that simple.
It's under the law, right?
Yep.
Only the president.
That's it.
Nobody else.
The Presidential Archive Act or something.
Vice president.
Right. Something like that.
Right. Presidential Act or something.
Yeah, something, right, exactly.
Right. Come on, people. But and you know what the sad part is? What gets me? People are still gonna go vote for him.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Now you're entitled, and I'm not one of those people that I'm gonna ignore you and not talk to you because you're gonna vote for him.
Well,
that ain't the answer. But come on.
I am. I'm gonna ignore him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Have some common sense, people.
Well, it goes beyond that. You have to really. I know this is going to sound hyperbolic, and I hate it, but it's just ridiculously true, and I can't not say it. No, really, give this guy 4 more years. We are China. Yes. We literally are China.
We'll be China.
You'll be limited as to how much food you can get. You'll be limited as to how many kids you can have. We will be China.
How you live.
Yeah. You know what? Listen, I want to do something fun.
How you live.
My phone's up there. Carrie, you got? Wow. I don't know if I can do it. Can you? All right, next time I'll do it. I'll have the numbers next time. I should have done it this time. But next time you come and you watch this, I'm going to research how many acres there are in Ukraine. Okay? And if you guys want to do it and you want to write in the comment, I'd appreciate it.
So how much land? How many acres?
How many acres, right? And then how much money we've donated to them. And I want to find out how much we paid per acre and how much of Ukraine we actually own at this point. Because we're just giving money for no reason. When this is over, that money's gone. Nobody's paying us back. Nobody's paying us back.
Nope.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So,
100-some million, right?
170 was the first.
Woo.
Yeah, and then he just gave 365 million.
Wow.
I don't know. So let's find out how much we own.
Right.
Because
you're right. That's a good idea because they got acres of land.
And then figure out. Well, from what I understand, Europe only threw in 20 mil.
20 million.
20 bill. No, it's a bill.
Bill.
So it's 170 billion that we put in.
And they put 20.
And then we just gave another 395 million. So for 17 billion, 170 billion, 394 million, or $95 million. Wow. How much of Ukraine do we own? Wow. We got to own something. I mean, listen. for $10, I want to know I got something coming to me. Let alone for 170,395
a lot of money going that way.
million. So I'd like to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up.
And just think, 5 years ago or whatever, when Trump was president, that money was here.
Yeah.
We had that money here.
And
the reason why it's going there now is because of our good old President Joe.
And your retirement accounts were up 30%, not down 30%.
Right, your 401k.
Realize that's a 60% jump. It was up 30%. It went back down to 0. That was 30.
Right.
And then it went down 30 more. Right. That's Joe Biden's America.
So if you're going to vote for him again in 24, think before you do.
Do something, please, and don't vote for him.
Yeah.
If you think you're gonna go vote for him, get some duct tape, put your hands together like this, and hold one part of it with your nose. Push it around your hands so you can't push that switch.
Right.
Because you're really gonna kill the United States.
Yeah. I was about to say we won't have no country.
Now I'm gonna tell you.
We'll have no country left. And this is USA, baby.
I'm gonna tell you that I really believe that the only one that can do anything in this situation is Donald Trump. And the reason that I believe that is because he's already had the fear of God in putting these people, putting to Putin and putting to Kim Jong and putting to
North
Xi.
Korea.
They were scared to death of him, scared to death. And he's the only one that's not monetarily tied to these countries, that he could pull money away from them.
You don't need them.
Right, exactly. So he can turn around and say, no more aid. Listen, Ukraine, get to the table. And if they say no, all right, there's no more aid for you. They'll get to that table quick. He could turn around and put and say, listen, we're going to open up our fossil fuels.
Close yours.
And you're going to close yours down because nobody's going to buy them for you. We're going to undercut you. We're going to literally trash your country. Get to the table.
And that's
they get to the table. And now,
And that's how he started the war, first of all, because Biden gave him the opportunity to open up his oil.
Absolutely. If he had never opened up that pipeline, the Nord Stream pipeline, he never would have had the financing for this particular war.
And you need the financing to get the weapons.
Without financing nothing, like you ask people, what do you need for war? And they'll say, oh, you need weapons. No. You need money.
To get the weapons.
Is everything. Let's say this. Let's say you have all the weapons in the world. You have nobody to work them unless you pay people. So without money, you can't do anything. Right. You can't pay your soldiers.
Right.
Who's going to work the weapons? The weapons are beautiful, but if nobody can pull the trigger, what are you going to do?
There you go. It's
all
about the money.
It all comes down to cash.
Money. And they let him open up his thing, and the money rolled in. And now what's he doing? He took over Ukraine. And what do? 170 billion. We're out.
We're at plus 300. Look, 395 million ain't exactly a toss in the bank.
And now we have migrants here.
That's on the EC.
Migrants here. We're running out of money. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, the debt ceiling.
Yep.
And we got June 1st, and we have to maybe default.
Yep.
We haven't defaulted in how many years?
Never. Never. This would be the first.
There you go. Under me, Joe Biden. So think about it in 24, people. That's all. We got plenty of time, but think about it.
Yep.
Think about it.
Anyway. So I was saying, now Donald Trump is the only one I think that could settle all of this stuff.
He's a negotiator.
However, if this was a different year, if we weren't coming out of a Biden presidency, I like Ramaswamy.
He's good.
I like Wagner. Not Wagner. I'm sorry. I like Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and that's a Democrat. But I like him because he's honest. I like Ramaswamy, Kennedy. I like I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Scott. I like Scott.
Tim Scott.
The only thing bad about Scott and DeSantis have the same two issues. They're not worldly enough. By that I mean they're going to be overwhelmed by meeting these dignitaries and stuff. Like, when they meet King Charles or they meet, the Prince of this or King of that.
Saudi Arabia.
Right. They're going to be overwhelmed by the opulence. Okay. And Trump isn't. Trump views them as below him. And that's what you need right now. You need someone who views those people as kids. And that's how he's going to treat them. Because that's the way they're acting.
I mean, look at the difference, people. Once Trump left office, look, they saw a president.
They
took over.
Right after
Afghanistan.
Right after Afghanistan. That's all it took.
That's it. Yeah, as a matter of fact, after Afghanistan, they saw this and what happened.
Yeah, that's
true. They went into Ukraine.
Anyway, so here's the other thing I was going to say. So who else do we have in there? We have. Oh, I'm sorry. So, and the other thing about DeSantis. Wait. No, wait a minute. The other thing about Douglas, who?
That guy Douglas, right?
Which one? I don't know Douglas.
There's a black guy. He's another guy who's running for president. You put in
Douglas. I don't know.
You know what you're saying.
Okay.
Byron Douglas, I think it's.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
Byron Donalds.
Donald, sorry.
Okay. I was thinking of Green Acres Douglas.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, Mr. Douglas.
Brian Donald.
I just happened to have one on the back of the truck.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, Mr. Hayne. No. The other thing I was going to say about DeSantis and Scott is that they don't really have the business background that they need right now.
I don't think they're also across the.
Well, if this was the 1950s and 60s, DeSantis would be perfect. Yep. It'd be perfect because he's a no-nonsense, I don't want to use the word war, but strict kind of guy. And that was good back then. Right now, we need someone who has common sense and who has business sense. Because the United States is a business. Right. We're not a family anymore. No. We used to be family. Like, 60s, 50s.
70s even.
Yeah, you basically, you were born, whatever your dad did, you probably ended up doing, or maybe, if you were lucky.
Footsteps.
Right, if you were lucky, you went to college and became, a professional. But if your dad worked in, construction, that's where you ended up. Right. And you got yourself a pension, and you worked for 25, 30 years, and then you retired, and you lived with your family that you've had since 22. That was the 50s and 60s. Now, nobody's even getting married, number one. Nobody's having kids, okay? It's a different world. Today, the world is based upon a business sense. And that started in probably the late 80s, early 90s with the invention of the chip, the microchip. And when that happened, everything kind of went a little crazy. Okay, so, and that's where everybody started making money. Just think of it from this perspective. If I told you I know 2 millionaires back in the 90s or back in the late 80s, you'd call me a liar. You'd say, no way, there's only maybe 5 or 10 billionaires in the world.
No.
Well, I know 2 billionaires, and I'm telling you that I think there's like 4,000 billionaires right now.
Today.
So,
business.
Taylor Swift is a billionaire. I mean, so it should tell you how much the economy is growing. Right. Oh, you want to talk about that? The dad with the 21,000? Did you hear about that?
No, I missed that.
Okay. This dad promised his daughter during Christmas time that he would get her Taylor Swift tickets. So when he looked them up, they were $1,000 each, which in itself, I would tell you, you know what? Go play the record, all right? Anyway, so he looks them up there. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I'd be like, go play the record. If you want, I'll buy you a second record. How about that? So he tells him, all right, I'll get you and 4 of your friends, or 3 of your friends, tickets. So flash forward now to Taylor Swift's coming up, and they're like $5,000 a ticket. Plus, that's not it. Plus fees, taxes, and stuff.
For a year.
So he ended up paying $21,000 for 4 tickets to Taylor Swift. And they weren't even good tickets. You're talking about like off to the side of the stage in like the blue area.
That guy's delusional.
I mean, that's absurd. You know what, sir? I'm sorry. I don't mean to say this to you, but you probably have the most spoiled kids on the face of the earth. And,
God bless you.
God bless you the first time you say no to them. I mean, God bless you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think it's the dumbest thing in the world. And I think it's a horrible lesson to teach your kids.
Yes.
I think it's an even more horrible lesson to teach Taylor Swift because she thinks she's worth it. And come on, nobody's worth it. I'm sorry, nobody's worth it.
Listen, the only way Taylor Swift could write a song is if she has to break up with someone. That's her songs.
Right, exactly. I mean, and again, we're just talking about a song. We're not talking about a world-changing event. We're talking about a song.
She didn't cure cancer.
Come on. I mean, really, $21,000, seriously?
Oh, that's insane. $21,000, you could do a lot with that.
And that's not even good seats. Understand, that's not good seats. Good seats are like $10,000, $12,000 a piece.
Right. That's right.
I mean, that's $1,000, $1,000, like $1,250 or something like that comes out to. I mean, that's crazy. Or $5,250.
No.
That's absurd.
No, that's spoiled kids. You're right, and God forbid, you're right. God bless you once you say no to them.
First time you say no, your life is crazy gone.
Yeah, you better move, bro.
Hey, Daddy, I hate you.
I need $22,000.
My dog is like going crazy when I do that because it's not something
it's true though.
She's used to.
But it's true. That's insane. $21,000
for Taylor Swift.
I wouldn't even pay $2,100.
Dude, I gotta tell you the truth. If you told me
It's
that,
insane.
if you told me that I could meet, wow, who could I meet that for $21,000 that I would? There's nobody. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't even think of anybody $21,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean,
man.
I might pay $400 for to meet Rod Stewart, maybe. I mean.
But we saw him.
Yeah, but
Ride freely.
$21,000, dude. Come
we
on,
saw Rod Stewart
man.
in the street.
And I mean, even if I had it, I wouldn't care.
Right.
If I was a billionaire, I ain't giving somebody $21,000 to listen to their music.
Heck no. And,
That's crazy.
and like you said, listen, I don't know if you're Taylor Swift fans out there, but I'm music now. So.
$21,000, you could do like The Matrix and go have something stuck in your head where you can play all her songs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, $21,000.
And then use auto-tune to make yourself sound like her. I mean, come on.
$21,000. Go buy a mobile home, live in a country.
Really? I mean, Jesus Christ.
All right, that's what he should do because that's what's going to happen to him.
$21,000. $21,000. You go buy an RV and just kidnap Taylor Swift. It's easier. Sorry.
That's insane. And all she, like I said, and all her songs.
Oh wow, that deranged professor we were talking about.
Yes,
it's right here. The deranged professor we were talking about before.
She did?
We told you about with the trans thing where she pushed all the stuff off the table.
It just happened today. A New York Post reporter.
Okay, you take it.
A New York Post reporter just went up to her door, knocked on the door for an interview. She opened up the door with a knife and threatened him.
Yeah, a knife to his face.
Knife to his face.
Right to his face.
Now
she was relieved of her teaching duties.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at that, right up to her face. I wish I could show you this. I got to learn how to do this. I'm really close. I'm telling you, I'm really close.
You watch the news tonight, you're gonna see.
Yeah, just look it up on YouTube.
Fox News, right?
On YouTube. Just put. Oh, it's a machete. It's not even a knife. She went with a machete to the guy's throat. He should sue her. He should have her arrested. All he did was knock on her door. He's not. He's a
reporter.
He's a reporter. He wanted to find out her side of the story.
Right.
And then later on she go, nobody asked my side of the story,
Right. Yeah. Later on she'll cry down the line. Right.
Wow.
But this is what's going on. You see, people.
All right. I think you guys have had enough of us.
Right.
Anyway, guys, listen. One more time, I just want to put it out there. If you like our show, and you watch it, take a buck or two. Again, whatever you can afford.
You whatever you can do.
Listen, even if you do it this way, at the end of the day, you take 25 cents, throw it in a jar, and wait till the end of the month when you have I don't even know, like $3 to $4 or something like
whatever
that.
You have.
Send it. Just send it to them. They really could use it.
And you're gonna feel good.
And again, I don't care if it's St. Jude, Shriners, anything with kids. But the reason I picked those two. And even Tunnel Little Towers is pretty cool because they get 95. I believe it's 95 cents.
Yeah.
Of every dollar goes to the actual charity.
And that's good because families have the children.
Yeah, that's good. But I would really, in my opinion, I would rather see you guys send it to the kids.
St. Jude and Shriners.
Yeah.
Because these kids are our future. I mean, they're good.
Well, they're just so freaking strong and they're so courageous, man.
Yes.
I don't
look at the adults that we have here now.
Yeah, I don't know that I could handle that life, No. And they handle it with a smile, and I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's
so
what I do it. God bless.
I just figured I'd put it out there. If you don't do it, it's no big thing. Again, I don't really. It's no big thing. But I just figured I'd give you the idea.
All right, God bless.
And if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't.
No, it's the best thing to do because look what's going on with these adults.
He'll still send.
Yes.
We're just trying. And again, we don't want you to send anything in our name or to us or anything else.
No.
We want you to send directly to them. Right to them. Just go on their website. Send it. I think they can set up a monthly donation where you can do like $1.
They do a monthly. Yes.
Yeah, whatever you can do. You know what I mean? If you can't do it, it's perfectly fine too. Then you know what I would appreciate? If you can't do it, you know what I would appreciate? If you talk to somebody about it.
Right.
And just not even ask them to do anything. Say, hey, listen, just bring up the subject and tell them about St. Jude's or one of them for like 5 minutes. I mean, I'm not asking for much.
They need all the help they can get.
I'm giving you 40 some odd minutes here. So, I'm trying my best for you guys. And I give you my word that I will make this a better show. It's just I'm not a really bright man. Isn't that what Forrest Gump said? I'm not a smart man. Anyway,
hey, we're in high school for 7 years. We're no dumb. All right, remember.
I'm not a smart man. Otherwise, I'd go and open a shrimp boat or something.
The laws were tough back then. When my mother dropped me off at school when I was 9 years old, she got a ticket for loitering.
Anyway, but so we're not looking to like get anything from you, but we would like to see you pass on some happiness to somebody else. And that's kind of a nice way to do it.
And it is a good way to go. Yes.
Guys, the next time we'll be talking is after Memorial Day.
Enjoy your Memorial weekend, folks.
So yeah,
you
guys be safe this weekend. Don't be crazy. Have fun.
Listen,
but be smart.
Right.
Okay, we care about you. We don't want to lose any viewers.
Don't drink and drive for 2 reasons. 1, you don't want to get a ticket. 2, you don't want to hit a bump and spill your drink.
Yeah, and if you're out on the water and you happen to be smoking anything, don't throw it in the water because it becomes wet and soggy and very hard to light.
Yes.
Anyway, you guys have a great day.
Enjoy your Memorial weekend. Be safe.
That was for you, Rob.